Hello and welcome to the very first podcast for Workwise Business Insights. And today we're going to take the opportunity to introduce ourselves, but also to share some insights that we've learned from the biggest lessons that we've taken since starting our business. So, first and foremost, I'm Michelle Smith, and this is Rosalind Rumney, and we have come together to bring to you a podcast with insights, helpful hints, tips, and information to make your business journey easier and more enjoyable. I'm by background an HR practitioner, which is one of the things that Rosaline and I share in terms of common ground. But 10 years ago, I left the HR profession behind and set up my own property business. And since then, my business journey has evolved to the point where a couple of years ago, I became a coach. And I work predominantly with midlife women who are building and growing their small businesses. I'm an NLP practitioner, master practitioner. I'm a master hypnosis practitioner, a systems business coach, and I have a whole heap of tools and resources to help my clients to essentially be the best that they can be in their small businesses. Over to you, Rosie.
Yeah, welcome and thank you. As Michelle said, my name is Rosalind Kurumi. I'm the HR director and the licensee for the HR debt for the areas around Deptford, Greenwich, and Lewisham area. I've got over 18 years of HR generalist experience in various industries, including prison service, HMP Belmarsh to be precise, UK Export Finance, Competition and Market Authority, Cabinet Office. My last role was with ACAS until June 2022 when I actually took the courage, to leap of faith to leave my corporate work and then start my own business. I have masters in HR human resource with the University of Stratford. I've got level 3 CIPD, level 5 CIPD in learning and development, and level 7 CIPD as well. So, part of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development. And my business supports, small to medium sized businesses up to 200 employees. So we work with small business around all the areas I mentioned earlier on to access HR experts and advice, support, around grievances, disciplinaries, talking about performance management, learning and development, anything to do with employment law, and making sure that small businesses they actually comply with the employment law just to avoid the problems of employment tribunal. Over to you, Michelle.
I just wanted to say, actually, you mentioned something really interesting there, Rosaline, and that's courage, and the fact that you took, you built the courage to step away from a corporate career and set up on your own. And I think that touches on some of the sort of things that we're going to look at probably today, because courage is so critical. Courage and resilience, I think.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that with us sharing our stories of our lessons learned, that will really come through.
yeah, definitely.
So, my share really about the biggest lesson learned, I call it my two C's. It's community and collaboration. Because I think when I first started my business, it felt very lonely and it felt very much as though I had to do everything. I had to make a go of it, and there was nobody else out there that I could really lean on or tap into. And I also had, which is quite interesting when I talk about community being a big thing for me, I also had a fear of networking. And it's something that I see lots of women finding is a barrier to them really getting out into the world when they first start their business. But once you
Mm,
get past that comfort zone and you get out there and you find the right people, collaboration and community become a real cornerstone to
mm,
making the journey much more enjoyable
yeah.
and a lot less difficult. Um, so I guess really the essence of what I'm saying is I learned the hard way that I had to kind of get out there. And I think if I'd have known that getting over that fear 10 years ago would have accelerated my progress,
Mm,
I would I would be a lot further forward than maybe am today. But that's part of the learning journey,
it
and that's
is.
why I brought it. Really, is my biggest lesson learned, and kind of turned it round from a lesson into a real positive, because
Mm.
community and collaboration now really are at the centre of everything that I do, and it's transformed my journey as an entrepreneur. So
Oh,
how about you?
that's very good, actually. I think, well done, Michelle. To be honest with you, you've gone this way, and I think well done to us as well. I think it's around, procrastination. So I think for myself, I actually wanted to do it before COVID. And I was planning, 2020, I'm going to start, and then COVID hitting. So when I was looking into that, and again, I had to revisit my plan for 2020. Is it the right time to, to start a business and leaving a job, not knowing, how long COVID would be, for. And I think that was one of the biggest mistake that I made, because when we went into the lockdown, and that was actually the time that a lot of small businesses, they needed HR support, so I could have kind of benefited. That year could have been a learning curve for me, then using the coming out of the COVID, after the lockdown, to then properly say, okay, this is my proper year one. And I could have developed that time. Boy, hey ho, I'm here now. So I started, and I think during that COVID as well, even though I didn't start, I did something remarkably, because I invested in myself. I invested in a business coach, because one thing is to know about your stuff, be an expertise in one, area of your subject. But one thing is to know how to run a business. So I invested in myself, a business coach for 6 months, around business, around customers journey, accounting procedure. I did all of that to understand. And this is for me because what I do is very professional, and also trying to get small businesses, medium-sized businesses, to make sure they're on the right side of the employment law. So myself, I don't want to get into problems with, especially with HMRC, just to make sure I did everything, by the book. However, I was supporting some of my friends. I already got their businesses. Some have got domiciliary care, to kind of supporting them free of charge, of course. By that, I was actually developing my skills as well, using my skills and preparing myself for that, even though I wasn't making money. But it actually paid off, because some of these people, they've actually now become my client. So investing myself, business coach, accounting packages. And ever since that time, because in my corporate world, I was managing, budgets, managing apprenticeship budgets, L&D budgets, that kind of stuff. And then it's different from then managing your own budgets when you then start your own business. And I actually set boundaries as well, because that is very important in whatever that you do. in terms of I'm moving away from my corporate world, 9 to 5. And sometimes, working in that corporate world, in as much as you said it's 9 to 5, sometimes, especially during COVID, I was even working more than the hours that was being paid to do. So then setting boundaries. I'm going to run my business. I then think about how am I going to manage my home, because I'm a mother of four and I'm a wife as well. Making sure the flexibility I've been craving for, even though I got that in my corporate world in civil service, I want to continue that. I even make it more better to work smarter. So I set boundaries around my working hours. I don't want to work weekends, you know. I want to start early. Then if I have time to then finish early, I will do. And making sure I set aside some, days during the week that I do my paperwork, my admin, because, as you know, the onset of a business, infancy of a business, you cannot afford to have employees anyway. So making sure I have time to attend, networking events, have time for my kids as well, my family and my home, and then thinking about my own well-being as well, to be making sure I actually look after myself. I go to spa, retreat. I love retreats, just to come back and making sure I have enough to give to my clients. Yeah.
There's so
Uh,
much that you've said there that I think it's so valuable. I mean, the procrastination that you mentioned right at the beginning, I think, is something that it's part of the human condition. In one way, shape, or
I love
form.
that human condition. I love that word.
And some people, I think, feel that it's them, it's just them, but it's
Yeah.
not. We all do it in some way, shape, or form, and actually recognizing when it's happening, it
Yeah.
gives you a really great opportunity to do something about it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love the fact that you recognise that. And I also really like the fact that you've reflected about what happened in COVID, and actually that with hindsight you can see that that was an opportunity, or it
Yeah.
could have been a business opportunity.
Yeah.
But also that you made it into a personal development opportunity as well.
Yeah.
So you've learned lots, you've invested in yourself, but you also saw, looking back, that that might have been a really good business opportunity.
Yeah.
Uh, having taken the time to kind of reflect on things, I think is a great thing to do, because quite often we beat ourselves up about missed
We
opportunities,
do.
but
Yeah.
actually see things for what they are, and
Yeah.
next time around we're much
Yeah.
better able to capitalise on those opportunities.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that I hope that we ever have to go through COVID ever again. So
No,
fingers
never.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other two things that are really interlinked, actually, and I I applaud you for bringing them both up, and that is boundaries and well-being.
Mm.
Being able to say, these are my boundaries.
Yeah.
This is my business. I run my business in the way I want to. I serve my customers to the absolute best of my ability, but actually, I have boundaries. I think it's so important. And the tendency, I think, when first starting a business is not to have boundaries, because you want the work, you want as much,
Yeah.
you want everybody to love what you do, and you
Yeah.
want them to come and be your customer. And it's
Yeah.
so easy to let go of having those boundaries,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
feeds into your well-being. Your point about
He
well-being.
does. Yeah, he does. I think both of us have talked about well-being in the past anyway, which is very important. And then you need to think about quality, not about quantity, because you need to make sure you give the best to your clients anyway. So because they are the one putting food on the table, isn't it? So you think about that. And if you don't have time to, look after your well-being, you can't serve them properly, isn't it? So yeah, and I think it's one of the things. So in as much as it's talking about quality, it's not about quantity. It doesn't mean when the work comes, we shouldn't take it. And that is where the power, the power team comes along. This is what we're doing, power team, in terms of, okay, I've got this job. Okay, my power team is a sum of the work. Michelle, you've got HR background. It's a sum of the work because I've got pool of HR professionals around me. If I have a lot to do, obviously I don't want to take on any employees because I've done that in the civil service managing staff. So I'm trying to move away from that. Are there some of the work rather than turning my clients away? I could actually, get in contact with one of my power team and just said, okay, do you have capacity to support me with these grievances? Because sometimes I chair grievances and disciplinaries, they come back with the appeal because I've chaired that grievances and disciplinary. I can't do the appeal. So I then look for another HR professional, to kind of support with that. And sometimes I have clients that are actually struggling, recommend they will need business coach or people like you to then support them. That is where the power of power team comes along.
And that is such a beautiful
Yeah,
phrase, power
yeah,
team.
yeah,
And I use collaboration and community, but actually, power team really brings those two words together.
yeah,
It makes it into something that's um, it, it it kind of, you feel then as though you have your own team.
yeah, yeah,
If you think of those people around you as your team, it takes away some of that loneliness, and
yeah,
it enables you to then, when you need that help, you can reach out.
yeah, yeah.
So I think that is such a lovely phrase.
It is. It is.
Thank you for that.
And I want to mention something that you touch base in terms of thinking about our weaknesses or lost opportunities. Sometimes lost opportunities is nothing. It's just for you to be able to recognize that lost opportunity and how can you then turn that into strength, you know. So that is what is important here that we need to think about. So yeah, and that is what we're all about. We think about SWOT analysis. You have your strength, you have your weaknesses, you have your opportunity and threats. And those are the things that we need to think about around some of the things that, when things come along, don't be downcast. Pick yourself up and then, you know, continue as a business owner. I know, like I said, I left my job 2 years ago. Well, and I started this business July 2022. So I'm coming to my second year. I've had ups and downs, but I'm a very positive person. Michelle, we've talked about this. So in as much as I kind of sit down and then reflect, what can I do better? What was the mistake? So just looking at those weaknesses and then turning them into opportunities, looking at those traits, and then say, well, I think I can turn it into something good. Yeah. It was just because you mentioned weaknesses. That was why I kind of mentioned the SWOT analysis.
You know what? I
Yeah.
think resilience
Yeah.
is, maybe that's something that we can take as a
Yeah.
subject in its own right. And for our next episode, maybe we could look at that, or a couple of episodes down the line,
Yeah.
um, because it, no 2 days are the same, and some days can be really low, and some days can be really high when you run your own business,
Yeah.
and kind of finding an equilibrium
Yeah.
somewhere where you're okay with it,
Yeah.
quite difficult. So
Yeah.
I think we add that to the list of our subjects that
We will
we'll be
talk
chatting
about.
about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And maybe a good opportunity actually to say that we're hoping to maybe bring some guest experts in as well
Yeah. It-
to interview.
yeah. And I think for our viewers as well, like Michelle said, we'll be coming with different topics as well. I'm sure we have viewers that will be listening or watching our podcast, our first introductory one, in terms of if you're out there just starting your business, or, year one, year two, don't be downcast. There will be highs and lows. It's just to make sure you stand by your values, revisit your why. Why did you go into the business in the first place? I think revisiting the why, once a why, will kind of reconnect you back, not to kind of give up and never say, you know what, I can't do this. I'm going to go back to my 9 to 5 job. So, yeah.
I'm making lots of notes here because so many of the things that you said there, I think we can absolutely
Yeah,
cover in their own right,
yeah,
because some of these things we kind of know when we first start our business, but we forget.
yeah.
And keeping keeping true to our values, I think,
It's
is
true. Yeah,
so
it's so important. Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So, thank you to all our viewers. We hope you enjoy our first introductory episode. So, watch this space. I'm Rosalind Kurumi again from HR Debts, Preventing People Problem. Michelle?
And I'm Michelle Smith from Clarity and Beyond, and I'm helping you to reach your full potential.